Hey YouTube, this is Amos here. I just hit level 100 on uh, Fate of the Vol, and yeah, I'm gonna first go over like my gear, my passive tree, and then I'm gonna go into like what I thought was good this league, things that I learned, the tips that I utilized this league. Then I'm gonna go into what I thought was bad, and unfortunately the bad list outweighs the good this league by a hefty chunk. And then I'll go into like future plans. So right off the bat, let's just look at let's look at my gear and gems. Um, homogenizing exaltation was removed, so a lot of this is kind of makeshift slap together gear that could definitely be a lot better, but it's SSF. You make do with what you can. T1, this is essentially T1 in my opinion. Suffixes, prefixes could be a lot better, but it is what it is. I made a post in my last video on like in terms of gear that should still be relevant, like what you want for prefixes, what you want for suffixes. I dropped this sick crown, really good for leveling. Yeah, sorry about that. Focus, you know, having 1 to 2 deadlines on items nowadays in SSF at the speed in which I was trying to blow through, it's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Could be better. I did not hit any other bases with minion level, so this is like a really bad base, but you make do. You make do. You're happy with what you can get, honestly. You take the scraps off the floor. You take what Ange is willing to like show you in the gambling, and you're just happy with it. It is what it is. These are just res rings with life. Similar to like last league, the rings are kind of hard. The only really things you care about are life, rarity, and that's really it for prefixes. So there's always going to be a dead slot for prefixes. I didn't really farm too much this league. I really prioritized XP, and I'll get into that more of that later. This critical damage bonus line, I really can't tell how good or how bad this is. I see like some other people really hype up that like you can if you get reduced crit damage bonus, you can potentially like ignore that map mod entirely and also ignore the critical component of monsters entirely. But from my research, crit rate for monsters is like 5 to 7% on average. So I really don't know how impactful this is, but it could be because like I didn't feel the impact of it. It could be because I have this line itself. So really hard for me to say. Gloves. I'm really happy about this pair of gloves. There's really only one deadline, right? And everything else is pretty nice. The prefixes are all T1. Can't complain. Can't complain. Boots. Oh, this league. This is the league. I got dropped a chase rune. So very happy about that. I know I have max life here instead of percent ES. It is what it is, I'm just happy to see the T1, call it a day, whatever. It's not perfect, but I'm an SSF. What do you want me to do? Headhunter again this league, I chanced a bajillion heavy belts. This dropped in a map again, so very happy about that. Hopefully this just continues forever. And this dropped pretty early this league. I want to say it was like 98, 97, something like that. So that's pretty nice. So I just hope this continues on forever. These don't really matter this league. The flasks. I don't think I touched my health flask since campaign, and my mana flask I definitely haven't touched since campaign. Um, but yeah, this charm setup is slightly different than what I ran on the Titan, and I'll get into that in a little bit when I start getting into the skill tree. Uh, Purity of Lightning, this should be Purity of Fire. I still stand by that, but I stopped crafting as early as I could this league. Upswelling 2, Lightning Mastery, Cool-Headed, Strong-Hearted. Cool-Headed, Ignite this league, like, hurts. This thing hurts this league. I don't know how else to put it. I definitely feel like they buffed Ignite, like Ignite Ground or something like that. Like, I definitely think they buffed that a lot. Bogfeld Commoner. The only thing that changed this league is I'm now running Magnified Area 2 because there's no more downside of Magnified Area 2 anymore over Overreach. Ignite 3. I could not find Zoph's Pyre for the life of me. I ran Zesh, no joke, like 50 times. Could not get Zoph's Pyre. On the wiki it says it's 3%. I think they're lying. I don't know how else to put it. Um, for the longest time, I was running. Let's see if it's here. Let's pull it here. Let's show. Oops. Fire Pin 2. So for the longest time, I was running Fire Pin 1 to like test it out. I I think GGG needs to make oh, here it is. Oh, that pin's like all the way to over there. They really need to like I don't know the terminology that they would use internally, but they need to sync these up or match these up so that they're more in line with each other. Like, so for example, Fire Pin 2, I read this bottom text, hits from supported skill ignore enemy fire resistance. I immediately know I can't use this. I look at Fire Pin 1, it just says supported skill penetrate. So like, but then up here in the small, like in this flavor text, I guess, I don't know which one's the flavor text honestly, but this says hits. So I tested Fire Pin 1 for the longest time. It doesn't work. The top line is the correct line. But I just think they need to like sync these up a little bit because this is just very like misleading and like an extra layer of like obscurity that just shouldn't be here. Like this should just tell me what this sport gem does instead of like making me test and guess. Like, am I penetrating here? Am I not? This doesn't work. So we get stuck with Ignite 3. I ran Minion Mastery for a while. Ignite 3 is better. Blasphemy. Nothing really changed here. Honestly, you can take a lot of this setup from my last from the Titan character, and I'll link the PO like the PO Ninja below, just so you have it access to all this. I can't run Heightened Cursed here because I have spirit issues this league. I don't have enough spirit. I know it looks like I have plenty of spirit right now, but I turned the minions off so it doesn't make like the noise in the video. Um, I couldn't run Heightened Curse, but Blasphemy's still OP. I know they nerfed like curses, like area of effect and stuff like that. It's still OP. Uh, Thunderstorm. So they removed Stormfire. So instead of Skeletal Mage now, the Storm Mage, I now use Thunderstorm. It's pretty good. I shock going over the ability Shock Induction 2. This guarantees shock. Pretty nutty. Lightning Exposure, Potent Exposure, Overcharge, and Commiserate. Uh, so I'm running Lightning Exposure and Potent Exposure because the biggest flaw of this, well, yeah, it's still the biggest flaw. The biggest flaw of this build is still Fire Res. It's just a pain. You have no way to overcome that. So with this, I can clear mobs, like just mapping a little bit quicker and a little bit easier because I can just apply exposure consistently and over like a decent area. Um, Frostbomb, right? The cooldown, it kind of like you can't just like move on with it, right? You're kind of stuck on CD for a little while. So Thunderstorm is really nice for that. And the Overcharge Commiserate, you're just making a 20% shock, a 30% shock for free. Really nice, really nice. Yeah, but Frostbomb still the same as last league. Elemental Weakness still the same as last league. Covalent still the same as last league. Nothing really changed here. Passive skill tree. So at this point, I'm not going to get too much into the minutia here because truthfully, this is just Oscric's build. So I'm going to post a link to his YouTube video in the description below as well, so you can go there and just look at it. There are some changes to the passive skill tree, like that GGG made, so then like there are some like actual changes from his original video, but more or less the core of this is just Oscar's video, and I don't need to like duplicate the video, but I will get into like Lich, and at this point I need to apologize to all of you that watched my Titan video and made a Titan. I'm sorry. Lich is just easily, hands down, no contest, 5 times better than Titan, and I'm not exaggerating. So I apologize to you if you built a Titan and played this build. Lich is just better. No contest. It's just better. First off, this node right here, I didn't know this node existed. This is just mini Gloom Shrine, and it makes it makes this build go from it's just too good. It's so good. I don't know how to I can't even describe it to you unless you play with it Just imagine you have a perma Gloom Shrine buff. I know it says 33% chance, but I swear to you, this feels closer to like 95% chance. It's so good. Free doubled sapphire. You know, this is just raw stats, right? Free. Um, the right side here, you're just getting free 15%. Well, it's 10% here, but let's be realistic. It's 15, right? Because why would you not take this, right? So it's 15% damage reduction, 15 DR, 15% DR. You get mana regen. I know it says no inherent mana regen, but more or less kind of works like mana regen. And then you get immunity to bleed and poison, right? With eternal life in a like a pseudo way. I know it doesn't say that explicitly, but that's kind of the net effect here. This ascendancy is is just so much better than Titan, and I apologize if anyone built the Titan. My build was just trash. Don't ever play it. If you have the option to play this over that, take this every time. But yeah, this is the tree. Not going to get too much into it here. I think here's a slight difference right here. This is a big cluster here. This little cluster here makes temporal change. I don't know, like it, it makes temporal chains. If I had to quantify it, like 50% better. I know the nodes are not 50% magnitude nodes, but hindered, comboed with the curse magnitude, comboed with slow potency, this makes white mobs hit 75% slow, like, and that's the cap, right? So this makes white mobs just you'll never get touched by white mobs. Blue mobs, it's 50% of that. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like 50% slow. And then rare mobs, it's even less than that. But you're always gonna get touched by rare mobs. It is what it is. Nothing too crazy about the tree here. I think the area that's subject to debate or like change is right here. This whole cluster that I'm kind of like encircling here. I definitely think there is some consideration to removing all of that, allocating 2 points here for 3% move speed, and then allocating like traveling here all the way over here for move speed and more ES. There's definitely a strong consideration. To each their own. I think if I had my +2 helm on, and that's the only thing I could wear, I would definitely consider like traveling over to the movement speed side instead, because I would have extra like damage from minion levels, right? So I don't need this. I have this, right? And I would rather have the 5% because I'm goal orientated. So I'd rather have the 5% increased XP gain over just raw damage. I have enough damage with the build as is. But I wore this when I was bossing, so I do have a +2 minion skill helm, and it's on an ancestral tiara. Don't worry, I do have that. But yeah, so that's generally the passive skill tree. What was good this league? What did I learn? What tips do I have to offer? I like what they did with tablets. I like that ritual tablets are no longer like finding a $20 bill on the floor. I know I don't show it here, like because I got rid of them because I don't need them anymore, right? But ritual tablets were plentiful this league, amazing. Breach tablets, not so much initially. I actually struggled to get breach tablets early on. Expedition tablets, I think I found like 5 total this entire league. So I'm not sure if like somehow they buffed ritual or if they just swapped like the math for ritual and expedition, but I struggled to find expedition tablets this league. Overall, the 4 mods on tablets being just like very consistent now, it's amazing. It's an incredible buff, and it easily like made my XP gain this league like double. Um, so yeah, it's very nice. Uh, what else? What else did I learn? I started chaosing maps this league. I had a strange issue where I was running out of alks and I was running out of exalts. Um, Not really sure like if that's just everyone's problem. If that's a me problem. My rarity is a lot less this league than last league. But because I was running out of Alks and Exalts, I started like so the T15 maps that I had that was like extra like triple extra damage or something crazy. I started just chaosing them to like make them runnable. So that's something I did this league. That's a nice little thing that I haven't had to do or I haven't really considered historically in previous leagues. I learned this league in a kind of a harsh lesson. If I ever need to vol a gym, I should never vol the gym that I'm actually using. I should just make a level 19 or whatever, right? 18, slam the perfect on that one, and then vol that one. I should never, ever, ever vol the gem that I have currently using. I make a big deal about this because I'm mentally handicapped and retarded, and I just lost like a level 20 skill gem um, for the Bachfeld, and I wasn't able to get another one for like, I don't know, a couple hours because I just basically just took a voluntary minus 20% damage. I don't know. It was incredibly stupid of me to vol. Um, what else did I learn this league? Let me think. Let me think. I don't think. I guess crafting, but that's very subjective because it's dependent on what kind of gear that you're crafting and what you want. So I really can't, like, any tips or tricks that I learned for crafting doesn't really apply in a general sense. So I'm not really going to get into that. Um, Let me get into like what I thought was bad this league and what I didn't enjoy. They need to buff Delirium Simulacrum. This is just completely worthless now. Like it's not even close to being like a mechanic anymore. Um, this is now worse than Expedition by miles. This is worse than Strong Boxes by miles. This is worse than Wisps. Um, there's nothing to offer here. If I run Simulacrum, I don't get XP, and with the changes to the emotions, uh, this is just worthless drops. So the only thing you would run Sim for is bases, and for the conversion rate of just running bases, I think you're better off running other in-game content like Breach even to because you can use splinters. Where am I at? Like splinters have use, and you get decent amount of bases from that. So Sim needs some loving. It's not good currently. Um, what else? Ritual's fine. Homogenizing exaltation got removed. It is what it is. It was OP. It made crafting way too easy. I get all of that. Ritual's okay. I think it's an okay spot. It's not amazing. It's not bad. Essence is also fine. No issues with Essence. I don't know what this is, but I don't have any. So I also just realized that I have one of these. I don't know if I would have actually slammed it anyway, but it's good for me to know that I have one this league. What else? Lovely. Expedition. I don't know if they changed something this league with Expedition, but I just don't have any artifacts this league to work with. I feel like last league I had plenty of artifacts to work with, and as a result of that, I can't really recomb anything because I'm just out of artifacts constantly. Uh, yeah. This league's mechanic, the Vol Temple. They've buffed it a couple times, and at this point I haven't really touched it since they buffed it. It's very very convoluted, and I understand that this game requires you to go out and do research outside of the game, right? If you want to know about mods, if you want to know about like tiers, if you want to know about the odds of like gear, stuff like that, drop rates, drop is possible drop, what you should chance. But the Vol Temple just seemed incredibly like obscure, and I couldn't like one, initially, like right before it got buffed, the amount of time it would take for me to invest to research it and understand it did not seem to correlate to the payoff. Like it didn't seem like there was a lot of drops that would be impactful to what I want to do or even care to do. The only things that I cared about initially were these like limb replacement things, but after the fact, like these are whatever. These don't really do anything at all to me, for me. Uh, so, all that being said, the league mechanic this league kind of fell flat. I don't really care about it whatsoever. It doesn't really drop that good of a loot. So yeah. Um, Sorry about that. Okay. The other thing is, so historically I've played this game for fun to get to a level 100 because I think getting to level 100 is fun. But this league, I unfortunately got suckered into racing for 100. And that is, how do I put it? Like, just not fun. Um, because what ends up happening is you're racing against like yourself. You start to develop like this mentality of like, okay, whatever you're doing, how does that translate or convert to XP per hour? Is this good XP per hour? Is this bad XP per hour? Is this 0 XP per hour? And if so, you start to get like this toxic mentality of like, don't do this, and you need to be generating XP per hour. And all of that feels very pointless after a while because it's not, how do I put it? Like it's not competitive, depending on your build, depending on how you play. So for example, this guy, right? This is Oscar. Some of you may know him, some of you may not know him. This guy's insane. Okay, so I've played for 8 days, 15 hours, 15. So basically 9 days. Okay, I've played 9 days to get to level 100. This guy made it in 4 days. So he has double my efficiency. Not only that, I didn't die at all this league. He died at 96 and restarted and got here. So it's even less than 4 days if you really want to put into perspective. So I'm not competitive at all for like the top of the ladder, which means, and it makes it feel like what's the point of me trying to race? I'm just spinning my wheel, if you will. So all that's to say, it'd be a little bit more fun, a little bit more competitive if I could see like some of the other people that were racing like continue playing after their characters die, because obviously I'm not competitive with this guy, like nowhere close, and that makes it so that it's very demoralizing to race for like high rank on the ladder. And I think after coming to that realization, I should never race for level 100. I should just play to get to level 100. It's kind of an obvious like kind of like insight after the fact, right? But in the moment, you really get suckered in, and it's a weird feeling. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not going to do it again. I'm just going to play to level 100 because once you get into that trap of like XP per hour, like or just whatever you do, you have to get XP. You stop caring about gear as well, which has its downsides and upsides because you now find ways to optimize how efficiently you acquire gear, right? Because you're trying to like do everything efficiently as fast as possible. But at the same time, it becomes very lackluster because you give up on gear a lot sooner as well because you need to, like you're prioritizing XP. Like for example, I have an Azure Amulet base here. Like if I was playing last league, I would have kept grinding for a better base for a very long time. Um, but yeah, so all that's to say, this guy, Oscar, insane. Absolutely insane. Crazy good player. I wish he streamed so I could kind of learn. Um, to put in, well, there's no point in putting him in perspective. He's just that much better. But yeah, so what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do now? Um, I think. Oh, also, I should never ever ever play the same build 2 leagues in a row. It's just not fun. I should never do that ever again. Um, yeah. So I think now I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go celebrate the New Year's, and I'm going to go probably roll a Spark Pathfinder. I think that sounds kind of fun with the movement speed, penalty reduction, and all that good stuff. And I'm going to take it easy, take it chill. Um, yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of speechless. This league was not it's self-inflicted. It's 100% self-inflicted. But yeah, okay. Um, thanks everyone for watching, and Happy New Year.